the people who said they missed 2016, I hope you're happy, because here we are. Let's talk about tariffs. Rest of the world notwithstanding, doing a repeat of 2015 isn't all bad, when it comes to Transformers at least. We've got Primes, we've got Combiners, all now in a post-War for Cybertron level of engineering. It was this time 10 years ago that we got the grand return of Combiners with the all-new modern updates in Combiner Wars. Remember when Combiner Wars was new? Remember the Unite Warriors? I'm fading. After 2 trilogies with middling to tie-in media, and 1 trilogy with no tie-in media at all, someone high up must have supposed it was high time we give Combiners another shot. And the results, in my opinion? Oh boy. After Menasor, which feels more like a proof of concept in hindsight, we got Superion, who I don't think anyone really thought was going to be as fun as he was. Not to mention 86 Devastator. Thoughts on the individual bots aside, when he's fully combined? Ooh. I don't know if I'm gonna keep that. All is to say, I was incredibly excited to see how Hasbro and Takara would handle my favourite combiner, Bruticus, and Vortex's showing was already very promising. But in another rare case of Australia getting early stock, hope this continues to be a trend, I have a chance to take a look at 2026's Brawl and Blastoff a little bit early. I might even beat the Stolen Toy reviewers crap. Oh, come on! And after taking a look at both of them, I can confidently say the Combaticons are gonna be great. Mostly. We'll get there. So let's blast off with Blastoff, and we already have a real stunner here. There's something a little magical about a shuttle. I love the purple on the front, not to mention that giant con symbol on top that would make 07 Dropkick blush. Vortex already had a pretty clean copter mode, especially compared to the aerial bots, but Blastoff is even better. No real gaps or blemishes, he's just so smooth and compact. One thing that really surprised me too is how hefty he is. For a deluxe, his plastic just feels so dense and weighty, and I just want to throw him at a wall! Wanting to throw him at a wall is a good thing, by the way. I really appreciate that all of the most recent Airborne figures have had dedicated landing gear. We are far beyond Earthrise Starscream chipping his chest paint on the ground. Blastoff comes with 2 guns and his tail fin, which is packed separately for packaging, but it's 5mm, so go nuts. Evo Fusion! These guns are just guns. Blastoff Pack compatible too. You can store them under the wings. You know, guns! Although, they do kind of look like Twix bars now that I look at them. Oh, yummy. Oh! Speaking of blast effects, all 4 of his thrusters are 5mm, so you can maximize his whooshability into the air and not a wall. Overall, he's probably the most successful of the post-Legacy Limb vehicles. He's a joy to handle, and thankfully that carries over into the transformation as well. This conversion is very familiar, taking a lot of cues from Slingshot, but everything just feels really solid and tight. It's pretty wild to think 10 years later we'd still be using the Combiner Wars leg hinges on a new range of combiners. The tail fin folds in such a clean and purposeful way, it is so simple yet effective, and the booster toes fold down incredibly satisfyingly. The shoulders fall down with such a lovely click. The only real caveat is the head, which can be tricky to get out in my own experience. Just make sure you turn it 180 degrees when going from robot to vehicle, otherwise it will get stuck. He's taken a lot from the previous aerial arm boys, but refined it to minimize the kibble and make it all much more integrated. His proportions are also considerably different. Overall, bigger and bulkier, the painted detail mostly shows up on vehicle mode, but he does well to not feel too washed out in robot mode, with plenty of really nice sculpting and color choices. And you just know this is going to look amazing in a G2 or Ruination deco.
Could there be a possibility that we may get a Ruination, which of course is a different toy line?
I think people can expect that in the future. There will more than likely be gift sets that will be redecos at some point, so I think Ruination is a top redeco for this figure.
I love how well they really captured those bug eyes too. I always love the swoopy forearms on Blastoff, and they look great here. His Twix, but I mean guns! The guns. They can attach to the hands or his wrists, or even on his toes. Again, 5mm.
Evo Fusion!
Where Vortex feels kind of fine in robot mode, and the aerial bots feel pretty good, Blastoff feels great. Tight, but not too tight. He's got really good heft and it makes posing him a dream. Only thing is that his guns are a bit loose in the hands, but that might just be my copy. And if they annoy you, Well, you can always. And the posing is pretty great too. Everything you expect on a modern deluxe, and thankfully bucks the trend of omitting the wrist swivels. More on that later. Even if the sculpts on the hands look like that, whatever. Transformers' hands have never looked quite right on toys. Blastoff has done plenty already. He can have penguin hands if he wants. I wasn't expecting Blastoff to blow me away as much as he does. I tend to gravitate towards Vortex and Swindle when it comes to designs, but he might be my favorite of the toys so far. He has the density and heft of a deluxe for an era gone by, but with the polish and engineering you'd expect from a modern figure. Definitely worth full price. Now to a figure that is much more contentious when it comes to his price value. Compared to the novelty of a shuttle, I have much less to say about Brawl's tank mode. Not that this tank mode is bad, quite the opposite. But Transformers has seen a lot of tanks, especially since Hasbro for some reason can't sell a working gun because of woke. Did you know that they made an RPM for G1 Megatron? It's true. If you want to find out how to get your own G1 Megatron alt mode, you should steal an officer's gun, get it twisted, rush the boss driver. That aside, Brawl is a nice and chunky tank. He feels solid and stable, everything snaps and holds together really well, and everyone rejoice that this tank can roll! In theory. My copy has 2 rolly wheels and 2 weirdly tight wheels that don't roll very well. You need some WD-40, I guess. I love the big back cannons he has. You can either attach them to the dedicated slots on the back of the tank, or you can attach them to the back of the turret and theoretically transform without having to remove them, which is cool, if a bit loose. He also has a gun. You know, a gun, which can attach to the 5mm ports around him, of course, or you can tab it in the designated spot on the turret. You can also attach the gun into the front with this little groove. No idea if this is intentional, but it's really nice to have these dedicated weapon storage options regardless. Color matching is a little off. Not visible or egregious under most lights, but you can tell some of the pieces are distinctly browner than the green on most of the figure. It's such a bliss to see a fully functional turret. Fully spinning, can move up and down, and all without clearly being a pair of arms. There are a couple of gaps in the tank, but I'm willing to forgive them, especially with how solid he is. Though, he is a little light for a Voyager. It is important to consider he basically has a third mode. That's right, despite modern mainline combiners all mostly operating with the skeleton system, Brawl has a dedicated integrated foot mode. I'm not going to spend much time on this mode, but I did want to highlight some of the cool engineering tricks to get to this mode, and to show off his dedicated ankle pivot. Yes, the pivot hinge. I'm sure this won't be problematic at all.
Foreshadowing is a literary device in which...
Anyway, we'll wait for Bruticus to fully come out before talking about the foot mode. You can stop looking at his foot now, you little perv. Where Blastoff was simple and familiar, Brawl has some engineering I haven't really seen before. Going from robot to vehicle is very satisfying too, being able to lock everything together effortlessly. I really love how the treads fold over each other into the legs, and the panels fold down to recreate the G1 accurate shoulder. It's a really cool trick. Also, I really enjoy how the side panel folds to complete the forearm. Just a little thing. Okay, this rules. He really carries his bruiser build compared to the other G1 Decepticons. He looks like such a bully, it's great. The head sculpt is amazing. The pop of orange is really nice. Also, do not mind the paint chipping, that is entirely my fault. Don't be like me. Really enjoying the extra greebles that they gave him. Turning the would-be combining tabs into fog lights is such a great touch. The dark grey and gunmetal they use really helps bring out the sculpted detail and makes things look less unpainted. I would have appreciated some extra paint on the shoulders to help carry out the illusion with the treads, but it's not a big issue. You know what is a big issue though? Okay, yep, let's get into it. My copy out of the box had really bad stress marks on the torso hinge. From what I've gathered, it's not guaranteed to happen on everyone's copy, but I've seen multiple accounts of this happening and it really sucks. Especially with the joint being for the combined mode, having it stressed out of the box is very concerning. Seemingly, this was caused from the hinge being way too tight of a fit, but it is thankfully fixable. I hit mine with a hairdryer and was able to get rid of all of those stress marks. And it ended up loosening the hinge as well. So it's all fixed now on my copy, but it is really frustrating to have to do this in the first place. Hopefully, I just got unlucky and this is an Omega Prime situation, but Yeesh. Now that that's taken care of, we can get back to really handling this guy, which you are going to want to do. He has some serious personality when it comes to his posing. Forwards and backwards butterflies and a waist swivel. A first for the modern Combiner Voyagers. No wrist though, which is really a shame. I get that it's for the arm panel transformation, and there isn't really anywhere you could put it, but for a Voyager, it's a bit unfortunate. But I can forgive it for those beautiful butterfly joints. Of course, all the accessories can store on the back, and he can hold his gun. It's a Transformer, you know this, they have guns. I do wish the back cannons had a 5mm peg of some kind so that he could hold them, but oh well. You can always... Brawl is a weird one, because he's mostly amazing. The one big thing with him I was able to fix, and even then, that's not the biggest problem, it's the price. It's complicated because he's definitely not a deluxe, but he also doesn't feel like a Voyager. Especially with how Voyagers have gone up in price, he does feel like he's missing about $10 of value. I don't envy the designers either, because what do you do? Brawl isn't really missing anything other than wrists, and you can't really make it bigger since he needs to combine with a Jeep. Maybe you could put some change in there to level the price? Maybe a Twix bar? Overall, these two are great. While I have some issues with Brawl, I still don't regret getting him, and it all has me really excited for how the other two Combaticons are going to turn out. Vortex was already such a fun figure, and so far he's my least favorite, so that's really saying something. Blastoff I absolutely recommend, but with Brawl, I'd try waiting for a deal if I can. I don't regret getting him for full price, and I truly do love him, but I wouldn't recommend him for the full price. I can't really think of an ending bit. Maybe just throw the Twix bar again.